If you've been thinking about doing a motorhome trip through Europe with kids but feel nervous about it, this video is for you. We spent 2.5 weeks exploring the Bavarian Alps in Germany and Tyrol region in Austria with our 2 toddlers in a motorhome. And honestly, it was one of our favourite trips ever. In this guide, I'm sharing everything. Where we went, what we loved, the real costs, motorhome tips, and whether it's actually doable with young kids. Hi, I'm Samantha from Our Wandering Hearts, and we're a family of 4 who've been travelling around the world for 3 years. We live in a caravan back home in Australia, so motorhome life feels like home to us. But even if you've never done it before, this area is absolutely perfect for your first motorhome adventure. Now, before I get into the route, let me just say, traveling by motorhome with kids is genuinely incredible. You have everything you need right with you. Kitchen, bathroom, beds, all the stuff you need. No packing and unpacking every few days, no stressing about whether your accommodation has what you need. With young kids especially, having that home base on wheels is a game changer. When they're tired, they can nap. When they're hungry, you can make food. When the weather turns bad, you're not stuck trying to entertain kids in a tiny hotel room. It can feel scary to rent and drive a big vehicle like this, but I promise you, once you get in it and you start driving, you will become used to it very quickly. And honestly, this region is absolutely perfect for first timers because the roads are large, there's lots of space for everyone, and they're well maintained. So to start our journey, we flew into the Munich airport and picked up our motorhome from Indie Campers nearby. We rented the EU Comfort Family 5 Auto Select. It's a big vehicle that can fit 5 people. We paid around $3,500 Australian dollars for 16 days. Now this didn't include insurance, and we generally don't get insurance when we hire a rental vehicle, whether it be a car or a motorhome. And our reasoning for that is that we are probably not going to damage it. Even if you do dint or scratch one vehicle out of a whole year of renting different cars, you'll usually spend less paying for that one excess rather than forking out hundreds or thousands of dollars in insurance costs across multiple rentals. That is a personal choice and you have to decide what you're comfortable with, but that's our approach. We didn't rush to our first destination though. Instead, we drove about an hour away to a random park up for the night so that we could do our grocery shop, unpack the motorhome, and settle in before starting our big adventure. This was such a smart move because we weren't stressed, we figured out how everything worked, and we were ready to actually enjoy the trip starting the next day. So now let me tell you about our setup. The girls slept in the large bed at the back, and Tom and I slept in the bed above the cab. We all slept the same as usual since we're used to sleeping in the same room everywhere we go. It wasn't cramped and honestly felt really cozy. The kitchen though, it was tiny, like really tiny, but we made it work. We cooked most of our meals ourselves rather than eating out, which saved us a fortune. We kept it simple with pasta and rice dishes, nothing fancy. The key for us was cooking early, so there was no big rush at dinner time when everyone was tired and hungry. Having the motorhome kitchen meant we could feed the kids familiar food whenever they needed it, which was brilliant. Our motorhome had gas heating, which was absolutely incredible for mid-autumn. It got cold, especially at night and early morning, but the gas heating kept us toasty warm. This meant we didn't need to stay at powered sites very often, which saved us money. We picked up the motorhome on the 8th of October, so it was late autumn. And honestly, we were expecting pretty bad weather. Cold, wet, and windy. But thankfully, we mostly had clear skies. The last 2 days, the weather did turn on us, but overall, we timed it really well. One thing that might worry first timers is dealing with toilets and grey water, but it was really easy to find dump points and disposal sites at most park-ups. This was never stressful for us, but we are used to it since we travel in motorhomes and caravans regularly. If you're new to motorhoming, don't stress about this part. There are facilities everywhere in this region and it is very straightforward. Now let me talk about the costs of parking overnight because it varies widely between Germany and Austria. We loved Germany for easy and affordable parking for the night. If you didn't need power or water connections, it could be as little as €5 for a night, though that wasn't super common. On average in Germany, we paid between 15 and 20 euros per night. A lot of the time we could fill up water for a few extra euros or use bathrooms nearby, which was often €1 for a 3-minute shower. Germany has loads of this word, which are motorhome parking spots. People can open up their backyards or land for motorhome parking, which means there are tons of affordable options everywhere. Austria, however, was a different story. The park-ups were absolutely stunning. Incredible mountain views and beautiful locations, but holy moly, they were pricey. We spent up to €45 for a site in Austria for one night, and found another one as much as €70 for the night. Austria doesn't have the same backyard parking setup that Germany has, and wild camping rules are stricter there. This means fewer affordable options and higher prices at official campgrounds. The views made it worth it, but if you are on a budget, plan to spend more nights in Germany and just do a few nights in Austria for the experience. So let me take you through our route and what we actually did. We stayed in the Garmisch-Partenkirchen area and stayed for about 5 days, hopping around a couple of different park-ups depending on whether we needed water or power. Our first stop was Ipsi, which is this stunning turquoise lake at the base of the Zugspitze, which is Germany's highest mountain. We went early in the morning before the crowds arrived and it was absolutely magical. The water is crystal clear, the mountain backdrop is insane, and walking around the lake is easy and beautiful. This was one of our highlights, and that early morning timing made all of the difference because by mid-morning it was starting to get pretty busy. We also visited Geroldsee, which is a smaller lake with incredible mountain views. It's less crowded than Ipsi and has that classic Bavarian Alps postcard look. It's an easy walk around the lake, really peaceful and gorgeous. Then we went to Parkneklam, which is a gorge near Garmisch where you walk through with water rushing below and rock walls towering above you. It's really dramatic and the kids loved it. It's an easy walk through the gorge, but you do have to walk 2 kilometers to get there, so I would suggest you bring the pram to the entrance point. Entry is around €6 per adult and kids under 6 are free. Garmisch-Partenkirchen itself is a beautiful Bavarian town with traditional painted houses, mountain views everywhere and good shops and restaurants. We walked around, got supplies and just enjoyed that Alpine town vibe. From Garmisch we drove into Austria for a day trip to Innsbruck, which was about 45 minutes drive. Parking in Innsbruck with the motorhome was a little bit challenging, with mostly 2-hour max parking in the city, but we found a spot after driving around for a bit and then walked into the old town. Innsbruck's old town is beautiful with colourful buildings, an incredible mountain backdrop and the Golden Roof landmark. We spent a few hours exploring and had lunch before driving to Achensee in Austria. The lake itself is beautiful for walking along the shore, but the real highlight for us was the Spieljochbahn. It's a cable car that takes you up to an adventure playground on the mountaintop, and this playground was absolutely incredible. There are climbing structures, slides, trampolines, all with insane mountain views. Our kids had an absolute blast and we spent hours up there. We then visited Kitzbühel, which is a famous ski resort town in Austria. Even in autumn, it's absolutely gorgeous with traditional Tyrolean architecture, beautiful streets and mountain views everywhere. Near Kitzbühel, we went to Wildpark Urach, which is a wildlife park up in the mountains where you can see deer, ibex and other alpine animals in really natural settings. The views from up there are so stunning and the kids absolutely loved seeing the animals up close. There are these walking paths through the whole park and it's really easy to do with young kids. This became one of our favourite spots because you get nature, animals, incredible views and it wasn't crowded at all. We then spent a couple of nights based in Kossen, which is a small town in Austria, and that's where we hired some e-bikes for a day. And this was absolutely beautiful. We were cycling through meadows with mountain views, past farms and lakes, stopping for photos along the way. The e-bikes made it really easy, even with some hills, and the kids rode in a trailer on the back of Tom's bike. If you're visiting in warmer months and your kids are old enough, I really think you should consider hiring e-bikes in this area because it's such a lovely way to experience the landscape. For our final stretch, we spent 4 days in the Berchtesgaden area in Germany, which is absolutely stunning. We went to Wimbachklam, which is another gorge. Similar concept to Parkneklam, but with different scenery. You walk through this narrow gorge with rushing water and towering rock walls. It's dramatic and beautiful and the kids loved it. Then we visited Hintersee, which is a small lake surrounded by forest and mountains, and this became one of our absolute favourites. We did a really slow walk around the lake and it didn't feel busy at all. It was so peaceful and beautiful. The water is crystal clear with fallen logs and rocks creating these beautiful reflections. It is less famous than Königssee, but honestly just as stunning and way more peaceful. Speaking of Königssee, that's the famous one. It's this long, narrow lake surrounded by steep mountains and it's absolutely stunning. And it does make complete sense why it's so famous. We spent a day there and took a boat ride on the lake. The boats are electric, so they're really quiet and smooth, and the ride goes to St. Bartholomew's Church, which is a beautiful spot. Now here's the reality, Königssee was impressive and 100% worth it, but it didn't feel as special as Ipsi or Hintersee because when we went, the boats were super crowded. When we visited Ipsi, we went early morning before the crowds arrived. At Königssee, we went mid-morning and it was absolutely packed. So if you can go early in the morning, definitely do that. We also did the Rossfeld Panoramic Drive, which is a toll road that costs around €9 and takes you up into the mountains with incredible panoramic views over the Alps. You can drive the whole loop and stop at viewpoints along the way. The views are absolutely stunning. You can see into Austria, across the valleys, and on a clear day, it's just spectacular. And it was well worth the toll fee. Now let me talk about the driving because I know that that's something some people will worry about. The route we drove mostly had large roads and we never felt cramped or like the motorhome was too big for the roads. This area is genuinely great for first-time motorhome drivers because there's plenty of space on the roads and everything is well maintained. Parking in larger cities like Innsbruck or Munich was difficult and usually had 2-hour maximums, but in smaller towns and at attractions, parking was generally fine. You just need to factor in a bit of more time to find a spot and be prepared to walk from wherever you end up parking. There's just so much that we loved about this trip. Having the motorhome meant we could change plans based on weather, how the kids were feeling, or if we discovered somewhere new we wanted to explore. We weren't locked into accommodation bookings or rigid schedules, which was so freeing. Both Germany and Austria are so set up for families with playgrounds everywhere, hiking trails that actually work with kids, mountain cable cars that make nature accessible, and restaurants that genuinely welcome children. The fact that Germany had such affordable park-up options meant we could do this trip without spending a fortune. If every night had cost 45 euros like in Austria, it would have been significantly more expensive overall. Like I said, we live in a caravan when we're back in Australia, so this lifestyle is very familiar to us. But even if it's new to you, there's something really special about having your little home with you while looking at these views. The last 2 days of our trip turned cold and rainy, but overall we timed it really well. If you're going in autumn, be prepared for cold temperatures, especially at night, and potential rain, but also know you might get lucky with stunning weather like we did. So would we recommend motorhome travel in this area? 100% yes. It's great for anyone who wants to experience the Alps without constantly packing and unpacking accommodation. If you like the idea of having your own space and your own kitchen, this is ideal. For first-time motorhomers, this region is genuinely perfect for your first experience because the roads are manageable, there are tons of park-ups, and the infrastructure is really great. Now, if you want luxury and don't mind higher prices, staying in hotels or Airbnbs might be a better option for you. If you're nervous about driving a big vehicle and don't want to deal with dump stations and water fill-ups, hotels might be easier. And if you're only visiting cities and not really exploring the nature, you probably don't need a motorhome anyway. But here's our honest take, this trip was absolutely incredible. The Bavarian Alps and Tyrol region are genuinely some of the most beautiful places we've been, and experiencing it by motorhome made it even more special. There was nothing we did where we thought we shouldn't have bothered with that. It was all amazing. So let me give you some quick final tips. Book your motorhome in advance, especially if you're traveling in summer. Motorhomes get booked out really quickly. We went in October, which is quieter, but if you're going June through August, you need to book well ahead. Don't rush into your first destination. Spend a night nearby getting comfortable with the motorhome, figuring out how everything works, and settling in. It will make such a difference to the start of your trip. And keep your meals really simple because that motorhome kitchen is tiny. And honestly, don't overthink the whole thing. Motorhome travel sounds complicated, but it's really not. And I promise that you'll figure it out as you go. So if you're considering a European motorhome adventure, put the Bavarian Alps and Tyrol at the very top of your list. You won't regret it. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more honest family travel guides. And make sure to check out our Germany and Austria travel vlogs to see these places in action. That way you can see what it's really like. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you done a motorhome trip in Europe? And where should we go next? Thank you so much for watching and happy travels.